quickly, and words were said, and it was not good. And so I went into my music room and I just wrote this song, and I wrote the lyrics first, and then I went in the next day and I worked on the music, and I said, let me get the chorus down, let me get a good melody here. And it's really much about it could be about a lot of things. It could be about arguments within families and toxicity and stuff, but it's also sort of I find it true with toxic relationships too. I find that the lyrics kind of resonate with people that manipulate you, people that don't bring activity in your world and seek to only bring you down to their level. And that's kind of what the song is for me. It's sort of like a anthemic, sort of like you're in between a rock and a hard place. Like if I do this, and this person will do this, but if I don't do this, I don't respect myself. So that's kind of what I think of it.
What does anyone when you put songs together? Is there anybody else in the band? Like, does Jack or John? Do they like Jack? Do you ever give input on like the lyrics, or is that all just Alexander?
Lyrics wise, as you hear in the song, Alex got good taste in lyrics and knows how to have a good flow. So I kind of leave it at that. But once we hit guitars that's when I start putting my input and judgment on things like that. But I will give them my honest opinion on anything.
I think that song really, really flows well. John, as a drummer, I know you're a drummer, right? So I'm a drummer, and but as a drummer, I always had like a lot of input because I was like really loud, and I told everyone what the fuck to do all the time in my band. I'm like, even though I was the drummer, I'm like, it's my band, so you guys are gonna do what I say. But I also have a podcast, so I'm very talkative. So it's like it's easy for me to just kind of like direct traffic and tell people what to do. And as a drummer, I did that, But John, do you ever do any of directing, or like this needs to be like this or this needs to be like this to help out like your drumming style?
Not necessarily. There's been a few tracks that he sent me, just like blank tracks, and I've written the drums for them. I'll give him like a bass idea, and he'll enhance it a little bit. As for like saying what should be what, me and Alexander mostly we'll sit down and talk and go back and forth for a few hours about different ideas.
So we're both drummers too. Yeah. Like I drum, and so we kind of connect on that level to where we kind of have we're usually on the same page for a lot of things. Yeah. But you often have a lot better ideas than I do, more creative ideas percussion wise.
Yeah, like today we spent like 4 hours in the studio just with a few ideas. Yeah, like the songs were pretty much done and ready to be professionally made and recorded professionally.
Quote unquote.
Yeah, but we spent like 4 hours with just the idea of adding some of my screams in certain places, and it just ended up really good.
Yeah,
that is really hyped to come out.
That is so freaking cool, dudes. And also you guys are also super nice people. Like Alexander, who I call him Ethan, aka super. I talked to him last night, and honestly, one of the nicest dudes I've talked to, like just chilling, having some talks and talking about the band's music. So thank you for sending me the music. Thank you for taking the time last night to listen to the songs and create a set list for us. So I'm going to play Unbreakable right now, and then we're going to talk a little bit about that song. And then we're going to talk a little bit about your concerts and things like that. So here is Unbreakable by Half Past Dead.
Awesome.
I can make time is on you. I've been cheated, defeated, damn near deleted, hated, degraded, but I never faded out of bed and jumped up with you. I've seen it all, the ups, the downs, the rise, the fall. This world is mine for the taking. You can try, but you'll never break me. In all my years, I've never thought I'd get this far. I've been feeling like a hurricane tearing through my heart. Now I've been through the fire. No longer fear the dark. I am unbreakable. Unbreakable. I got no time for people like you. I'm living my life the way I want to. I won't stop doing what I do. I don't give a fuck, man. Who are you? Killing it day by day. All you motherfuckers must get out of my way. I said killing it day by day. Everybody, everybody, everybody break! I've seen it all, the ups, the downs, the rise, the fall. This world is mine for the taking. You can try, but you'll never break me. In all my years, I've never thought I'd get this far. I've been feeling like a hurricane tearing through my heart. Now I've been through the fire. No longer fear the dark. I am unbreakable. Unbreakable.
Man, that song has like so much energy to it. Like it's, I can only imagine. Have you guys played that song live yet?
We have not, and I am dreading it because I swear to God, Jack, I'm so because we have to. I have to brush up on guitar. That song is a bitch on guitar because the riff is so fucking hard, and I hate myself for writing it. But it's such a cool riff, and I'm like, God, I hate playing it.
Playing it a few days ago, just trying to learn it and get all the mannerisms because I'm trying to add some stuff to it, and all I just kept screaming was "Screw you, Ethan! Screw you!"
I know the pain.
Yeah, because I write hard drum parts for him too. And here's the other thing: I write like really difficult things for some weird reason. Like I give him weird drum parts, I write weird guitar parts, and I write for "Show Me the Way," one of our songs. It is the hardest song for me to sing because it's right at the top of like a baritone's vocal range. And me and my vocal teacher have been working on that for like weeks.
Yeah.
So yeah.
The worst part about our dynamic is that he'll give us hard riffs, and then I'll try and make them harder. Or just like with John with drum parts, he likes to make them more complex, and we're like, why are we doing this to ourselves?
you know what you guys could do? Since he doesn't really go by Ethan, you guys can actually start a band called Fuck You Ethan, and he doesn't have to be in it. And then he just writes songs about...
No, I would love to be in that band.
He can't even be in the band, and you know what? We're not even going to let him know about the band until you guys do a band interview with me, and then we'll tag him in it for the podcast.
That's basically it.
That would be so funny, dude. It's good to be complicated, but it sucks to be overcomplicated. But I can tell because you go to school for music, and just by talking to you, I can tell you think what you say before you say it, and I can tell you I don't know you to know this, but from what I get, it's almost like I bet you're kind of somewhat a perfectionist, and when you want it done, you're not going to quit until it gets done.
Somewhat is an understatement. I am insanely meticulous. I like in the studio, you'll see, like when we were working, I was like, because there was a certain drum pattern that I wanted, and it was to the T exactly like this is the rhythm it is. And he would do the right rhythms, maybe in like the places that I was going, maybe not there. And we keep doing take or take until he got it. And I do the same thing with guitars, bass, vocals, piano, whatever it is.
So
I call it whiplash syndrome.
So did I get that right?
You got that 110% right.
Look, I'm very good at reading people, like off the bat. It's the way you speak and the way you carry yourself and your personality. Just from the first 5 minutes of even talking to you yesterday, I already knew that if you're gonna be in a band with this dude, you better fucking have your shit correct.
And that's like, I want to go back to people that we've had like 30 people in and out of our band, and it's mostly because they couldn't work under that condition. They weren't good enough, or they weren't humble enough to really do that. And that's why I'm glad I have everyone in the band right now, because they're very talented, they're hardworking, and often, like, again, I write most of the songs, but I'm totally open to like suggestions, and oftentimes they're way better than what I'd written. So it really works that way, and these guys are really good writers too. We're working on new stuff all the time, and they have really, like, Jack has written some awesome riffs. John is a really good lyricist, very underrated lyricist. He's a great drummer. He's a good conceptualizer of stuff. So I love working with these guys. It's awesome.
One thing people have to realize, and I don't know that they do, and you guys are now at a point where you're growing your musical careers, I would say, just a little bit, and getting some recognition, and that's going to continue to grow. People don't realize being in a band, as fun as it is, you got to treat a band like a business. You got to treat it like you have to think like a business, act like a business, market yourself like a business, and really work hard to write good music. You can't just, oh, it's so cool, I'm going to go get laid by a bunch of chicks because I'm in a band. That's not
that never happens. Whoever said that is a fucking liar.
And that's just not the way. That's just not the way it is. And it's always cool to be in a band and think it's going to be fun to be in a band, and it is super fun. And playing shows is really fun. But you got to bring business, and sometimes it's difficult working with someone who's real meticulous. But if they can't stand the heat, get the fuck out the kitchen, right?
Well, the other thing is, I want to add to that. It's only fun if you learn the parts and you do your work. It's work. Like, these guys will tell you, it's hard work. We do rehearsals, and our shows, we sweat our asses off. Jack is one of those guys. Jack, tell them what happens after every show that you've done with Half-Assed Dead.
I call it being too Slipknot. I black out every time, and I'll have to call Ethan or John, being like, "Hey, what happened? What did I do?"
That is so funny. I thought you were going to say you puke after every show because you go too hard.
Oh, no.
One of these days, that might happen. Yeah.
So, that Unbreakable song has a lot of energy to it. Once again, to me, people can disagree with me. Everyone has their own fucking opinions. I don't give a fuck. It's my podcast. I think that shit really was a little bit Alkaline Trio. Like, I think you have that sound for that. And you know what? People are going to be like, no, you're wrong. Well, you know what? I don't care. I think I'm right. And you're not going to change my opinion because it's an opinion, and that's what I have. So,
well, I listen to a lot of Alkaline Trio, but it's funny because I never really actively had that inspire anything for Half-Assed Dead. But I guess it creeps into my subconscious like that.
When you hear your songs now, and I mentioned that to you yesterday when we were talking on the Zoom call, go back, listen to your music, listen to some Alkaline Trio songs, and you can kind of hear, because the way that, I think it's Matt Skiba, is that the singer's name? I think
Matt
so.
Skiba, yeah.
So, and he's in Blink-182 now. But the way he sings for Alkaline Trio, his style is very, like, rhythmatic, it's not just fast, because the songs are sometimes fast, but he has that. If I could sing, I would give you an example, but trust me, I'll get no followers, and everyone will unsubscribe to my podcast if I start singing right now. So, okay, I want to play Ready. We got 2 more songs to play. We got Ready for the Ride, and we got a song called Half-Past Dead. I love bands that name a song after their band name. I think it's super cool. And is that the one that has that, like, that swing kind of?
No, that's Ready for the Ride.
Oh, that's one we're gonna play.
Bluesy jazz sort of piece.
Hey, and I want to thank you. And we're not gonna talk about it, but I want to thank you, Ethan, and the rest of the band I gave you guys some advice about a month and a half ago, and I know you guys have taken my advice to heart, and you're listening to what I said. And so I'm telling you, like, I'm not like the best person to take advice from, but I do talk with a lot of bands, and I appreciate you taking my criticism as positive instead of negative, because that shows you're really ready to grow and learn.
Well, we went through, when I went over to John's place, and I was listening to our album on the way here, and I was going, hey, I was talking to Sebastian the other day, and he made a good point that some of our songs that are really good are too long for radio. And I said, I kind of have this attitude with music where it's like, the song is as long as it's going to be. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like